Wednesday was our 4-year wedding anniversary, and we did a video about how you proposed.
Beautifully.
Proposed.
Dramatic.
And people have been asking us about our wedding in the past, because I guess it was a bit different. So this week's family vlog is just us talking about our wedding. It was on a budget.
Yeah, it was a budget, but it didn't feel like a budget wedding, did it?
No, I've always said that even if we had more money, which we didn't, there was nothing that I would have wanted.
No, absolutely. No, I was chatting to someone at work about it today. And I know it's easy to say that because it was ours, but it's the best wedding I've ever been to.
You'd be worried if you didn't say that.
I know, that's it. And that's what everyone's aim is, isn't it? To have the best day of their life. And it was amazing. And I'd like to also point out at this early stage that it was amazing due to your organisational skills and not mine. That's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fair. Brains and brawn, that's the divide.
Yeah, absolutely. I did
the
the leg work and the grass cutting, and you did the phone calls and spreadsheets.
Yeah. So, just so you have an idea of budget, we don't know exactly how much we spent, but it was definitely less than £5,000, because we were kindly given a little bit of money, and then the rest came out of the rest came out of our bank account, which isn't massively healthy. So I think it was just over £4,000.
Yeah, I was thinking 3-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe just over.
I can't remember, so I don't want to underestimate.
No.
So
let's say 4,000.
Yeah.
That's in between we both think. But for a full wedding, that's not.
We had 110 people for a whole day, all food and all booze. And I think if you're planning a wedding and you are on a price constraint, I think you need to make a list of your priorities, because for us, our absolute priority was booze and food, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, like you wouldn't want to be remembered for going to a wedding and people remember it for A, running out of food, or B, running out of booze.
No.
And we were somewhere that you couldn't go and get booze.
No,
it wasn't like
there wasn't a bar.
There's a lot of places you can get married. Most weddings you go to, there's a bar, so they provide a certain amount of booze, and then you stump up for the rest, which is fair play, innit? But we were in the middle of a field in Kent, so there was no going to get booze.
We aren't religious, so having a church wedding wasn't a choice for us. We just wanted a sort of registry office, civil service, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we found a venue in the countryside, not far from where we live, Waterhurst Castle, which is sort of like a ramshackled old stately home. Makes it sound massive. It was big, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's called a castle.
Yeah.
So it must be a castle.
What makes a castle?
Turrets.
I didn't see a turret.
What about suit of armour?
Maybe there's one of them. But we were in the garden, and we chose a Friday, because then you save the dollar.
Yeah, it was way cheaper to do a Friday, and everyone, bar 1 or 2 people, everyone could make a Friday, and the bonus of doing, I mean, a lot of people have weddings on a Friday.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more normal.
But the beauty of it is, people will take a day off work, and then they've got a long weekend as well.
And also, if people are really close to you, they'll want to come to your wedding. If people aren't that close to you and think that taking a day's leave for your wedding is an imposition, then they probably shouldn't be invited to your wedding anyway.
And it keeps the numbers down.
Yeah, it does.
I try to do it at 1:30 in the morning on a Tuesday.
And then the second, so that we just had the ceremony there, and thank God it was blazing sunshine. And then about 2 miles away was where we had our reception and our party. And I will say that we were incredibly lucky in the set of circumstances that we're in. Not everyone can replicate what we did.
Yeah, it was. So my best man, I had 2 best men. So one of my best men is in a very fortunate position to have some fields, and it's not something that it's ever been done there before, a wedding. So we just asked him if we could use a field, and he said yes, and it was perfect.
It was.
And that is where we saved, I think, most of the money.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we didn't need to spend thousands on the venue.
No. But we did have to, obviously, when you've just got a naked field, you need toilets, you need a generator, and you need some form of marquee. And we didn't particularly want a formal marquee. We wanted something. We went for an informal affair from start to finish.
Yeah, fully. Was it borrowed off your mum's?
It was a friend's son who had a sort of retired circus tent. So we hired it for a couple of £100. We put it up ourselves the day before.
Yeah.
Things like tables and chairs. These are all things that cost money, and there isn't really a cheap way of doing it apart from shopping around, which I did. And we just had trestle tables. I bought lengths of material for tablecloths that could be chucked away afterwards because they were made of recyclable material but not paper. So just little savings like that. We weren't looking for kind of very polished. What?
So I started laughing.
Why?
My chair made a fart noise. We weren't looking for a. You see all the wedding magazines where it's in a field and it's all very sort of beautiful and as if it's indoors but outdoors.
Yeah.
That wasn't what we were going for.
No, we wanted some picnic vibe.
A picnic in the market.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, and we had nice toilets because we didn't want daggy toilets.
Wasn't that
was
the most expensive thing we spent?
The most expensive thing we spent money on were the toilets, which I think were 700-ish quid.
Yeah.
And then obviously a generator, which was essential because we had to have a fridge, lorry, trailer to keep all the food and the booze in. But that was it, really.
The boxes that had the picnic in, that took some sourcing, didn't it? We had to go to a lot of wine shops and companies to get the boxes. Yeah, it took a while, but we got hold of them. But way harder than that was the plates. But what we did, we had a limit of £1, didn't we? Per plate. We went to charity shops. And some were nice, but it'd be £1.50. I'm not doing £1.50 on a plate.
No, we were quite strict.
Quite strict. And other people helped by going
people got really into it. We kind of mentioned we've got this £1 limit. We need to collect 110 plates, vintage, random, dinnerware, and people went mad for it. They're like, I found the best one, it's 20p!
Yeah, that was really good fun, wasn't it? Bar the fact we now own 110 random plates. So if anyone... Yeah, the plan was then to rent them out on eBay, rent them out. We never did that, they're just in the loft.
So, as we said, our priorities were definitely food and booze, but we had to go about that a bit of a different way, because if you're feeding 110 people...
In a field with nowhere to keep food hot.
Or any kind of waiting staff. We didn't have any staff at our wedding either. No. We weren't really interested in it because, again, we wanted something really informal and we didn't want anyone to be stressing about the logistics of things. So we just wanted it to feel quite relaxed.
And luckily the way we did it
worked.
Was a lot more personal as well.
Yeah.
Without, people obviously have catering staff coming, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
But we didn't.
What we decided to do was ask people what they feel comfortable making.
Yeah, like exactly what you just said. So many people said, because when we sort of said it'd be a picnic affair, everyone went, I make an amazing quiche. Nice one.
Yeah, write that down.
You just need to make us 50.
Yeah, no, not 50.
How many?
This is why I was in charge of the lists. So we had a wine box, one of those wooden wine crates, between 6 people. So that was our picnic box. So people said what they were comfortable making, times 20, and then we just sort of fashioned a menu out of that. And I arranged a food delivery of all of their ingredients, because we don't want people to be out of pocket, of all of their ingredients to arrive at their house the day before, so that they could cook or bake or whatever it was, what they promised to do. So we had this lovely menu that we just had made up at local printers, which we did ourselves, which said, for example, aubergine cheesecake by Alison. So people will be sat next to people going, oh, I'm Alison. Like, oh, you make the aubergine. It was just a really good way of people talking, and cheese biscuits and pickled onions, and people made this array of food for us.
And there was plenty, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
There was, definitely more than enough food to go around. Yeah, it's great. The food was fantastic.
And the only things that we supplemented it with, beyond what people made, were bread. So we just did a massive bulk order of bread that we picked up on the morning of, cheese from a local cheese shop. Yeah, and it just meant that clear away was really easy because you just chucked it all in the box. And booze, we got the majority of it from Majestics, but in France. And we just got tons of wine, red and white, loads of Prosecco, and then
loads of lager.
And that was it. We weren't going to faff about with spirits because then you've got mixers and it's sort of like just...
And also, again, you need someone to sort of make those, don't you? If you've got people who can help themselves to wine.
Yeah.
Well,
and soft drinks.
Yeah. No one had that.
And the last thing that we had, which again I realise is a bit of a privilege, was that Luke, whose field it was, has a licence to shoot deer, and he shot a deer in the field of which we were getting married and gave it to us as a wedding present.
Yeah.
And we took it to a local butcher and they made it into venison sausages, which we cracked out as the kind of midnight snack.
200 venison sausages, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, you can't get more local than that, can
No.
you? Shot in a field that it was eaten in. Poor fella, thank you for your loss. This is where you, I think, excelled yourself yet again, wasn't it? In terms of, let's talk about bridesmaids first.
Yeah, so I wanted 6 bridesmaids, my closest girlfriends. That wasn't an option. There wasn't an option to have just 1 or 4. It was 6 or none, basically.
I wanted none, she went with 6.
But we didn't want to spend, again, loads of money on dresses that people aren't going to wear again. Doesn't matter what people say, you don't wear your bridesmaids' dresses again. And we didn't, everyone was different shapes, different sizes, different colours. So I decided to make the bridesmaids' dresses. Now, I'm not a seamstress at all, I should say that. I just chose a really easy vintage Vogue pattern, a 1950s sort of skater dress, and then just chose really bright colours with mismatching long zips that I sewed on the outside, because it's easier to sew a zip on the outside, and I think they work brilliantly.
They were brilliant. You were sort of quite hard at it for quite a while in the evening.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it because I don't make things with my hands in my day job. I found it really therapeutic.
Yeah.
And not stressful.
No, it was doing it sort of
So,
in far and advanced enough, wasn't
of course
it? It wasn't a panic. It wasn't. I mean, I did the hems.
I did some of the hems.
Some of the hems, so they were bloody good hems.
And then my dress, I went wedding dress shopping. I felt like I was playing fancy dress. I hated it. It just felt like, it felt like I was going to a fancy dress party. It just didn't feel true to me. I didn't find a single dress that I liked. I felt like a complete wazzock. I've never had dreams of a big white wedding dress. I like good fitting clothes when I can fit into them. So I went to all the big high street shops, but the posh ones, so like Harvey Nicks and Selfridges, and tried on evening dresses, because I don't have evening dresses, and saw what shape suited my body, made a note of it, took it to a local seamstress, not a wedding dressmaker, a local seamstress, bought the material myself off the internet for, I don't know, material was like 35 quid. I didn't need silk. I was going to wear this dress once and it was going to get covered in wine and food, which it did, and got her to make this dress, and it was all in probably a couple of £100, maybe a bit more, because she was an amazing seamstress, and we had lots of fittings, but still
It was perfect.
it was perfect. I couldn't have got a dress in the shop that I liked as much as that for anywhere near the price. I think it was an Alexander McQueen fixed metal belt in gold colour, which I watched on eBay for about 6 months, and the price dropped and dropped and dropped, and I think it was meant to be several £100, and I got it for 60.
Yeah.
And then the shoes, I fell in love with a pair of Christian Louboutin, really tall stilettos with spikes all over them. Yeah, they were mega aggressive. Yeah, but
Mad Max, weren't they?
I loved them. I'm not exactly a kind of satin and pearl type of girl. That would have looked really weird on me. Like peak toe
Yeah.
would look weird. But obviously they're about £800. So I got them made in China and sent over, and they were £45.
You got to do what you got to do.
Got to do. Yeah.
My suit.
It was a surprising win.
It was, because I struggle. I've tried to get suits for years and years, and I've struggled always because I'm 6'4". Yeah. And built like a racing snake. So there's like normally a bloke being 6'4", they're big as well. So yeah, like. So any suit I tried on that sort of fitted, I don't know, like either if it fitted in the chest, it came up about to my navel and to my just below my elbows, and if it fitted in the length, it was really wide. But just at the time I started looking, all the sort of major shops started doing skinny fit stuff,
Yeah,
didn't they?
slim fit stuff.
Slim fit, skinny fit stuff. I think it was Burton's.
Yeah, it was.
Burton's in blue water, and it was a sort of petrol blue. I'm gonna have to get it. I bought it and then I had to get it tailored. Afterwards, you have to get the trousers done because they were a little bit too short.
But that was what, less than £200 in total?
Yeah, so jacket, waistcoat, trousers, and the tailoring. Yeah, under £200. And that's some shoes already. But
Yeah.
Had those shoes already? You bought me a pair of Lokes.
Yeah. But there was no point in you spending hundreds on a bespoke suit because you don't wear suits in your day-to-day life.
No.
It's not part of your uniform.
I mean, when you go to bed, often I go out in a suit, delivering chocolates to people.
Being the milk tray man.
Yeah!
Budget milk tray man.
Whoa!
So decorations, we weren't devoid of finishing touches.
Or wedding joy.
We just bought loads and loads of different coloured paper pom-poms. We didn't have a colour theme, really, other than bright primary colours, which meant everything went, really, which we hung from the ceiling. The bunting that we hung outside was cut-offs, remnants from the girls' bridesmaids' dresses, so it didn't cost us anything. And then the hay bales. Mm-hmm. Where did you get them from?
I had to buy the hay bales.
Yeah.
Which were, again, one of the things that was weirdly expensive.
Yeah, surprising. But I guess it's actually kind of a farm produce.
Yeah, and it's also, it was really hard to find square hay bales. You wanted you had them scattered around so people could sit on them.
Yeah.
Because there's no chairs, in the field. And yeah, just to find, you can find loads of round hay bales around here, but the square ones.
Oh, yeah.
And it was my birthday. Do you remember? I went out on my birthday, and Luke took a big trailer, and I don't know how many we bought, but bought some hay bales, took them back, and we bought some covers, do you remember, to put over the hay bales?
Yeah, just cheap throws from IKEA, yeah.
Yeah, just primary colour throws to chuck those around, and then people ended up by the end of the night wrapping themselves in them.
Yeah.
And probably stole them, so anyone's got any photos of themselves in a cheap IKEA static electricity blanket, I paid for that.
You didn't. Then what else? Oh, flowers. We had an allotment at the time.
Which is where I tried to propose to you once.
Failed. And I wanted dahlias.
Was it dahlias?
Yeah, it was dahlias.
Okay, good.
So, because they come in all sorts of weird, spiky colours, and we just shoved loads of them in the ground. I think we did it over 3 weeks in the hope that we would get some that flowered at the right point. And we did.
That was planning, wasn't it? I had an orange one.
You did, with your suit. And then this is where you came into your own. Your pièce de resistance. Yeah, you were worthwhile having a wedding really for this.
What is it?
It's the place settings.
Yes!
So everyone who RSVP'd to the wedding had to send us a selfie of them smiling but not showing teeth.
I drew you and me, didn't I?
As invites.
For an invite, which took me a little while, and then I don't know how it came about, but it came about that I was then, for the placemats, going to draw every person who's coming to the wedding.
So instead of having your name on your table, you had to find your face. Well, that means you had to draw 110 people's faces.
And after 2, I'd given up hope. It took a long time, months. I've got loads of mates who go into their house and they've still got them up, which is really nice.
And it was just a bit of fun, wasn't it?
For you?
No, but on the day.
On the day.
People really liked that because we weren't doing wedding favours or anything, so it was something people could take away if they wanted to.
Yeah,
most people did.
It was, they were great.
And then finally, photos and filming. So accompanying this video is lots of beautiful shots taken by our friend Andrew Marshall, who is incredibly skilled at photography. I love him. He was everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah, and that's I think the beauty of a decent wedding photographer is that you never know they're there.
No.
Really, you're not sort of.
But he blended in, he didn't shout at anyone.
Because he's your mate.
Yeah.
As well, and he knows a lot of the guys who are there, then it made it a lot easier. But it's really awful when someone's going around and pointing a camera at you and you're in mid-conversation without trying to spot or look natural. But because you don't know he's taking a photo of you, which is also slightly worrying, that it was very natural, wasn't it?
He was really, really kind because he was a friend of ours. He didn't charge us for the wedding photographs, which I know is a massive expense in a wedding.
Yeah.
But you've probably got a friend who is nifty with a camera, in which case employ them. Or employ Andrew Marshall, whose details are below. And filming, again, we didn't want a formal wedding film, we just wanted to capture people drunk.
Yeah.
Which is what we did. So I had a camera similar to this one, and we basically just put everything in auto, taped it all up so people couldn't fiddle with the knobs, had a light on top for when it got dark and said turn me on if it's dark, and had it set up on a tripod in the corner of the field, and just, like a nature programme where they set up motion sensor cameras, just saw what happened the next day, what unfolded, and it was hysterical.
Yeah, it was, brilliant, great idea.
But cheap, but free.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a camera, you know. If you haven't got one that films, someone else will. But just have it somewhere where people can just jump in front of it and make.
And people really loved, once they've done it once or twice, they loved it.
Going back, yeah.
Although, I don't know what the reason is, but I'm not in it. I never went to it once.
No, that was before you became TV savvy.
TV's Matt Riley. But the weather was perfect.
It was.
Bear in mind, we're in a field in the middle of nowhere. The little dance marquee had sort of blown over whilst we were actually getting married.
Oh yeah.
It's quite windy in the
we
morning.
had the skeleton of the market. So we had the kind of circus tent, and then we had more of a large gazebo with a proper dance floor because we wanted somewhere where people could actually dance.
Without putting a foot down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then so we paid for that, but the gazebo was a borrow from someone, and it flew off, didn't it?
Yeah. So the material in the frame that was there, and the wooden floor was there,
and people just stayed within the skeleton frame, like there were walls. It was really funny. So yeah, if you see something that looks like there's white scaffolding, that's just a naked gazebo.
We owe a lot to a lot of people
Yeah, we
who
do.
helped us out with food, fields, cheap tents,
Yeah.
DJing.
But I
And all the
think,
people who made
think
it
outside the box, and I think a lot of people have something that they're willing to offer.
Yeah. And loads, as you say, so many people go, oh, if you want anything,
Well, actually,
well, actually, it turns out I do.